This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
Well, Charlie Dimmock, welcome back to TV and Stamford as well. You know, it's been a long time, hasn't it, since those days?
It's been a long time since Ground Force, yes, a very long time. I was young then. That was a very long time. I'm going grey now.
It doesn't look it.
Hey.
Tell us what this show's really about, the premise of it.
The idea of the show is to give people ideas on design and how to make their garden much more workable. We basically get a brief from the client or whoever's garden we're doing, saying, you know, they want vegetables, they want low maintenance, they want a pond, or, you know, all those things. But then they also say, and we've got X amount to spend. So we have to do the design to their budget, and the budgets have varied from £1,000 to £8,000. So when you get a smaller budget, it does make you think quite hard.
And is a smaller garden easier to do than a large one?
You'd think a smaller garden is easier to do than a larger one, but in actual fact, it's difficult, one, physically, because we sort of get in each other's way, but secondly, to try and get things in to make it interesting, but not making it over-cluttered. So it's actually quite difficult to do a small garden, and the ones that we have done that have been small, the more simplistic they are, the more effective they've been.
Now, it's your design versus the Rich Brothers' design. What do you think are the broad differences between yours and theirs?
On this garden, there's two areas that are very similar. So we had our seating area in the same place. We also had a wildlife area. They didn't have vegetables, and I did have a little vegetable patch. So that was the only difference. But what is very interesting is sometimes we've done designs and we don't confer at all, so we don't see each other's until we actually show the client. And 3 times the designs have been almost exactly the same.
Now that's tough, isn't it? Because that then comes down to personality, I guess.
No, it's funny because the way that the boys do their designs and the way that I do my design, it's very different. So we did one and the lady came in and our designs were exactly the same, except mine was on a different angle. So it had exactly the same beds in the same places, paths, patios. And she said to me later, it was so difficult because the gardens were so different, the designs. And I went, no, they weren't. They were basically exactly the same, but they look different. And of course, like all things, when you do a pitch, you might emphasise some things more than another thing, and the boys might have emphasised something else. So yeah, it's been very interesting doing it.
So it's going to be a really interesting series, I guess, and it is, you know, little gardens, larger gardens.
Little gardens, larger gardens, very small budgets. You know, we've been doing a lot of upcycling. I believe that's the trendy word.
Reusing.
Yeah, recycling, reusing. Lots of bits of timber reused to make tables and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And it all ends with a glass of champagne, so it can't be all bad, can it?
Doesn't always end with a glass of champagne.
Okay.
No, it depends on where we are and, yes, what it is.
But in Stamford, lots of things end on the glass of champagne, let me tell you.
When it's been pouring with rain, a cup of tea is the best thing.
Charlie Dimmock, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. Can you say what the series is called yet, or is it still to be announced?
The series is going to be called Garden Rescue.
This is Rutland Radio.
It's Manjinder Jagdev and I'm event director of Rutland Water Park Run.
Now, tell us about the park run that currently happens. It's on a Saturday at 9 a.m. at Rutland Water.
It is. We meet at Normanton, near the church where the start and finish is. We normally get there for about 8:40, but it's a 9 o'clock start. On average, we have about 140 park runners of all abilities, all ages. So, for example, on Saturday, just gone, we had a 5.5-month-old baby in her buggy that her dad pushed her along in. And we have people in their 70s who come along and walk. We have tourists. So on Saturday, our furthest guest was from Amsterdam, but we've also had people from New Zealand. It's a free event that you can run or walk, and you can register on Parkrun UK, and you'll get issued a barcode through email that you bring along every week. We welcome people with disabilities. We've had 2 events now for visually impaired runners, and we have a regular gentleman who comes along with sight loss, and we have our 3rd visually impaired event on the 20th of August.
And it's a 5k course.
It's a 5k course. It starts from Normanton Church. It's out and back to the dam where it gets a bit breezy. And you meet a lot of sheep on the way. It's a flat course. So it's quite a fast course. But remember, you go at your own speed, your own pace, and time's not an issue at all. And we have lots of children who run it.
Now, talking of children, the junior park run happens on a Sunday at 9 o'clock, and this is what you'd like to do in Rutland as soon as you can, I guess.
Yes, definitely. Just like the 5k events are all around the world, junior park runs are all around the world, and we already have a separate core team who has applied to Parkrun UK to start up the Junior Park Run event. Junior Park Runs are for 4 to 14-year-olds, and they're 2k. So because we've already got the route officially measured at Rutland Water, it's the ideal setting, and it will be 1k out, 1k back on the current route.
So you've got a team of volunteers that are ready. You need a bit of money to help it happen.
Indeed, yes. The setup fee is £3,000, which we pay to Parkrun UK.
So what does that actually buy then, effectively?
Well, we pay Parkrun UK. They supply us with basic equipment. They are suppliers with a laptop that we use for the results processing every week.
Do they help with insurance and stuff like that as well?
Yep, everything's covered through Parkrun UK. So the core team will go on an intensive training programme specifically for junior park runs, and we're hoping that a lot of the marshals will be the parents who will come along and cheer and encourage their children.
So it's kind of like buying the licence and all the equipment,
Indeed,
isn't it?
yes it is, yeah.
Now, I know you've contacted some firms already that may well have some community funding and that sort of thing, but if anyone's listening and they'd like to actually help you reach this figure, then how can they contact you?
You can contact me via email, which is manjagdev@gmail.com, or you can contact me on my mobile number, which is 07400 103 301.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling tired, but I'm feeling good, and it's good to see you.
It's lovely to see you as well. Just
Yes.
seeing the sun rise,
That's
over
right.
Liddington Village and,
Yes.
and the mist in the valley.
Yes.
And walking into Abide With Me, and
Yes,
here you are.
here I am, yes.
So I didn't even know you played the organ until now.
Well, I don't play it very well, but
You're going till 10 o'clock this morning.
yes, I am. I'm sort of 5/6 of the way through now, so well on the way.
And I hear people have actually been visiting you right the way through the night.
They have. There's a lot of visitors yesterday evening and through the night, and so the hours went very, very quickly, and yes, now it's light, it's on the homeward straight.
And you're raising money for something particular here in the church.
Yes, we are. If you can see the windows up there, and obviously your listeners won't be able to see them, but the lead and the glass up in those windows is in a very, very bad state of repair and won't last all that much longer. And it's about £100,000 to get it done. We're getting on for halfway there, but every little bit helps, and I'm sure we should have a very good job done.
So what's keeping you going? I see there's jelly beans there.
Oh, there's jelly beans, there's sandwiches, lots of people have brought me food in, and lots of people have brought me drink in, non-alcoholic, I hasten to add, because you can't play the organ with too much alcohol, but I've been very, very well looked after throughout.
And what about your repertoire?
Well, for this sort of thing, one just sort of goes through ancient and modern from beginning to end and plays a few voluntaries and bits and pieces like that, but I'm not stressing myself with anything too difficult.
Well, I must not stop you, so off you go again.
Thank you very much indeed.
And good luck. So if people would
good
like
to
to
see-
pop in the church this morning, they can sponsor you. And,
Up till 10 o'clock, but the sponsor box is there,
and
and
there's a Just Giving as well, I know.
there's a Just Giving website. You can put it on from Liddington for Just Giving website, and we hope a lot of people will sponsor and lots of people will help.
Very best of luck, and well done for doing it.
Thank
What
you
an
very much
amazing
indeed.
thing.
Yes, well, there you go. Well, you're my first visitor in the daylight this morning.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
So it's Sport Bash this Friday, in fact tomorrow as it now is.
Sun is beating down. We're looking here over Stamford School cricket ground. I'm here with Dean Headley. The first thing we need to say is if people tomorrow turn up here and think, oh, we can buy some tickets on the door, they can't.
They can't, but all tickets are online and you'll be able to purchase your ticket even on the day online. So the idea is that if you do want to come in, get on the internet, order your tickets, an e-ticket, and there you go.
How many years have you been doing this now?
Partially involved in the very first year, so I think this will be my fourth year.
And this is a real kind of mark in the calendar normally in July where you actually see all this happen now.
Yeah, you know, you're still fighting with working out which is the best format to try and do things. We've gone back to 1 day and who knows, it may go back to 2 days at some point. But the idea is to create a family day with cricket as a medium, but the amount of activities we've got going on this year, climbing walls, caving systems, gladiator, inflatables, inflatable assault courses, and once you buy your tickets, all free.
And it's Dean Headley 11 against the Local Legends 11. It's the team that you intended to bring out as far as the Local Legends last year when obviously the weather beat you, but this year it looks just like this.
It doesn't have to be the perfect day, but last year it rained from start to finish. What we do, we insured it last year, so everybody actually did get their money back very quickly. I think this year there's been a lot of weather watching. I do urge people, it is a good value day. There's beer tents, gin and tonic tents, and it's a proper family day. Very secure site, so actually as an adult, you don't see your kids just because they're having fun all day.
And tell us about some of the names you've got playing.
We got Simon Jones and Geraint Jones, obviously from 2005 Ashes series. A local lad who plays in the leagues, Prasanna Jayawardena. Zach Chappell, I've invited him to come and play just because he's been on at me all this time and I've caved in. I said he's got to get to international level, which, you know, with his ability, he may do one day. We've got Owe Shah, Warren Hegg, Phil De Freitas. So we've got a nice little lineup.
It's all about putting on an entertaining day, as you say.
It is a relaxed day. It's not too serious. Generally, there's quite a lot of runs scored. It's a good wicket here, and it's in a nice setting.
Now, you've got a full day ticket, and then you've got a twilight ticket as well, so people can come along and see the live music in the evening, and maybe just the last bit of the cricket.
This is the first year that we've started the game about 4:30. We do have a band on, Children of the Revolution, which I've been told are very good. Their own marquee that they're going to be set up in. We're expecting people to stay, bring their picnics. You can bring your own food. Can't bring your own drink on, but we want to make it a proper event where it goes on into the evening a little bit. Before we've finished it about 5:30, and I think people go home for tea. This year you need to stay, so there's a twilight ticket. It gets you in after 6 o'clock, which should get you about half the game plus some music.
And how much are tickets?
Tickets are £10 for an adult, £7.50 for the child up to 17, I think, and then the twilight ticket is £6 and £3 respectively.
And all that to see, you know, top quality cricket here in Stamford.
Yeah, top quality cricket and plus all the other things that go with it. So if you go on the website, bglsportbash.co.uk, you'll see everything that's going on. Well worth it.
And who are you raising money for this time?
It's Matt Hampson. I started raising money for Matt Hampson before any of the incidents happened at the school, but Two Boys now are hugely supported by Matt Hampson. They are a very reactive charity to work with. They do get involved, they roll their sleeves up, they don't just wait for money to come in, and this is part of their calendar now. So with George Robinson and Seb Gould, I don't think I could raise money for other people at the moment.
That's Sport Bash 2015. What time do gates open on Friday?
11:30, and activities start at 12 and they go on right through till 6 o'clock. End of the cricket and then the band comes on.
Dean Headley, thanks for joining us at Rutland Radio once again.
Thanks, Rob.
This is Rutland Radio.
Throughout the afternoon, we've got numerous children's teams starting from under 7s to under 13s. As well as that, we've opened up, to a different, so anybody can turn up and play from 5 to 15. And then from 8 o'clock through till 1 o'clock in the morning, we have all adults, local adults team, so like the Jolly Brewer and places like that have put teams together to participate in it. And then from 2 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the morning, it'll be a select group that I've chosen to play throughout the night. And then to finish it off from sort of 9 till 12, we'll be playing Peter United fans team. Which will be Eddie's 11, which is George's younger brother.
Isn't Seb Gould involved as well? Hasn't he got a team?
Seb Gould's got an under-12 team from his school friends that are going to play in the little tournament. Obviously, Seb was in the accident as well, so yeah, Seb's involved.
And is it 5-a-side, or are we talking about full teams here?
In terms of the kids are obviously starting at 5 aside, working up to 11 aside later on with the older age groups, and then obviously the adults is all sort of 11 aside throughout the night and into obviously the next day, Sunday morning.
So tell us whereabouts you're going to be. Kettering Road in Stamford.
Yep, Kettering Road in Stamford, going obviously up the hill out by the George. You turn right going onto the A43 towards Corby. Follow that along 100 yards, and it's on your left-hand side. It's the AstroTurf to the Stamford schools. I guess I'm thanking them as well for obviously donating the facility to allow this to happen. But anybody is welcome to come up tomorrow or Sunday or whenever they feel. There's other things going on, barbecues, inflatables, massage, face painting, lots of things going on.
This is Rutland Radio.
Okay, if you give me your names first, please.
My name's James Ross, Theo Gompers, Freddie St. John, Teddy Crook, Will Chatterton, Louis Batty, James Fairfax.
And you're the Barnick Bats?
Yeah.
So how was it today, quick cricket? How many overs is that?
It was 5 overs. Once you're out, you're out. 5 overs.
And you won. That is your cup.
Yeah! Woo! Just amazing.
Yeah. Where's that going to go?
I'm just going to keep it all.
It's just going to be yours. Never mind anyone else's.
Yeah. Nobody is ever going to keep it.
No.
I'm just going to go in the trophy
Yeah.
with everything else.
How long have you all been playing now?
A long time. 4 hours. Years.
But apart from today.
I started yesterday. I trained yesterday, 5 hours. Yeah, I trained yesterday.
Ultimately, when you're a bit older then, would you like to be part of Barnick's first team?
Oh, yeah. We already are.
Your age? You are? Yeah, I can imagine. So how old is everyone here?
I'm 10. I'm 9.
He's 9.
But we've got a year younger here.
Yeah. Is it tough being the youngest?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, well done. Congratulations on winning the tournament today.
Thank you.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Hi, Rob.
Hello, Trevor. Are you looking forward to tomorrow then?
Having done it last year, not exactly looking forward to it, but it is a challenge and it is something that I have unfinished business with.
In what way?
Because someone had a heart attack last year and they cut off 2 main hills, or one of the hills anyway, and I felt cheated. So I wanted to come back next year and do the whole ride properly.
So whereabouts do you go? Isn't it part of the Olympic Park area and that kind of thing?
It starts in the Olympic Park. It goes all the way through London, out into Guildford, Surrey Hills, and then back in again.
Now, you have early onset Alzheimer's.
Yep.
You've said that a diagnosis of Alzheimer's isn't, something that, really you should say, well, hang my hat on that, I'm going to stop doing everything.
Definitely not, because my experience anyway, the more you force yourself to do it, it does become more difficult. But if you force yourself and keep fit and don't just give up mentally and physically, then my experience is that you can delay it. It's speed.
So partly sort of determination and strength of mind, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like being dictated to by anybody, including my own body.
Good. It's the best way to be, I think.
Yeah, some people say pig-headedness, but there you go.
Now, your sons, Will and Alex, are also helping you with the ride, so they're going to be riding as well.
They are, yeah.
And you're hoping to raise £3,000 for Alzheimer's?
Yeah, well, that's each of us.
Right, 9,000. It's quite possible, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Will's doing very well because he's tapping up all his work contacts, and Alex is doing a lot of other things as well to try and get there.
Excellent. Well, if people want to sponsor you and support you, particularly people who know you in Uppingham, Just Giving and go to Trevor Wise, they can find out all the links there. How long is your ride tomorrow? How far does it go?
It's 100 miles.
And have you been doing a lot of training? Have you been going around town?
I've been doing it since after Christmas.
So it should be not quite a walk in the park, a ride in the park and out of the park.
Yeah, but it's... I think Rutland is very good for the terrain that I'll be cycling on. The hills here are steeper and harder than they are in London, including Surrey. I know I can do what I can do here will be easier to do in London, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Trevor, we wish you the very best of luck, and thanks for talking to us at Rutland Radio. You sound on fine form. 6 years since your diagnosis, and I'm talking to you here this morning, and it's just wonderful to do that. Really is.
Well, with a lot of good nutrition, a lot of trial drugs and stuff, yeah.
It's clearly working.
And the most important thing, of course, is family support. If there's anything that I'd want to say out to people, it's just don't give up. when you got a diagnosis. I saw my mum go the same way, and she just gave up. She stopped doing things that were difficult, and I'm not prepared to do that.
I'm very glad you're not. Thank you very much for talking to us this morning.
Cheers.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Well, quite often people talk about the best bowler, the best batsman. I think with me is possibly the best wicketkeeper of all time. Jack Russell, welcome to Stamford. Is it your first time here?
It is. That's very kind of you, by the way. I might have to argue against that. I think there are one or two others, but
my father-in-law thinks you're the best wicketkeeper ever.
That's
so
good enough for me. But
yeah.
it's my first time in Stamford, yeah. Dean Headley's been on to me for the last 3 or 4 years about coming and bringing the paintings and the sketches and the limited editions and the books. And just driving through Stamford this morning, what a beautiful place it is. I'll have to come back and paint some pictures because it's magic.
Well, this is the thing, you know, you've almost had a parallel career really with the cricket and the painting.
Yeah, the two have overlapped. I mean, it all started on wet summer days when I got bored stuck in the pavilion. It's turned into my job now. That's what I do for a living. I've been doing it about 30 years, which is longer. I played for 23, so it's longer than I played cricket for. So I have great fun doing it, and I paint every day if I can. It's fantastic. It's a bit greedy, really, isn't it? Two jobs you love doing. You know, and I get paid to do both, so cricket and painting. So no complaints from me.
And who do you think are the people that have stood out that you've painted? Because you've painted quite notable faces and figures.
Yeah, there's been a few over the years. I suppose if you're talking royalty, the Duke of Kent and the Duke of Edinburgh. I had to paint the 10 Field Marshals of the British Army a few years ago, and they were part of that, so I had to go to the palace, which was great fun.
The Duke of Edinburgh actually quite patient as a subject.
Yeah, he's all right. He comes in on the dot and he leaves on the dot. I had about 45 minutes, but in between he was easy to chat to, and he likes his sport anyway. He's not as grumpy as people make out. But
he has a twinkle in his eye, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he likes to kind of upset the apple cart.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he has got that naughty little tweak in his eye, as you say. But no, he was great, and going to the palace was good. But I mean, other people, Sir Norman Wisdom was great fun because it was just totally hilariously all the time. He was just funny, mucking about. Although when he went for the portrait, he actually sat still for 2.5 hours without moving, believe it or not. So
really?
But when he came to the gallery in Chipping Sodbury, I had to watch him. He was out in the road, he nearly got run over. He was looking at people's cars, he was falling down in the gallery pretending to. That was good. And I enjoyed Eric Clapton because he asked me to paint him, and it took me 2 years to actually nail him down.
He loves his cricket as well.
Yeah,
he's
cricket.
I mean, he's played for many charity games.
That's right, he's cricket mad. It was great to paint Eric, and we did that in Chelsea in London a few years back. Eric Sykes was another one. He was a great entertainer. What a lovely man he was. There's been so many. I've been lucky, really.
And what about the cricket side? You know, highlights of 54 tests. I mean, it must be really hard to kind of think.
Well, it is hard. I mean, I think when you run out for England for the first time with 3 lines on your jumper, and it was at Lord's, I don't think you can beat that because that's a boyhood dream come true. That was special. Managed to get 100 against the Aussies in '89 in the Ashes series, so an Ashes 100 is quite rare for a keeper, so that was pleasing. Got 100 at Lord's, so I ended up on the honours board at Lord's, which is always a cricketer's dream. Batsman, bowler, wicket keeper, doesn't matter who it is, you know. Everyone wants to have his name in gold letters in one of the changing rooms. And I think the world record in Johannesburg in '95 was great. But in the same game, actually, what pleased me even more, because as Dominic Cork tells me, the edges were down to the bowlers and I just had to catch them, which is fair enough for the world record. But to bat with Mike Atherton on the last day of Johannesburg, when he'd already batted for a day himself, was an amazing experience. And people come up to me almost every day and mention that to me. I mean, I had it easy. He batted 2 days and I just did the one.
What about advice for any wicket keepers who are here? I mean, cricket is really big here, as you can tell, with all the local players.
I think the most important thing is just to enjoy it. It's always better when you play well because it's more fun taking catches than missing them, and taking stumpings rather than that's not so good when you miss them. But the other thing is don't give up. You know, just got to keep working it. You're in the thick of the action, so you can't go down a fine leg like a bowler if he's bowled a bad spell and have a few overs off. So you're in the thick of it as a keeper, so just enjoy it. You know, you're in the thick of the action, make the most of it. Well, the most important thing is just go for it.
And you've been signing your book here. Where can people get hold of that after today?
They can contact me. We're in Chipping Sodbury. The gallery, there'll be a phone number in the internet somewhere. I'm on Twitter as well. Jack Russell Art, believe it or not. A few of my ex-teammates are astounded I'm on Twitter, but I'm on Twitter. It's caused a bit of a stir, but I enjoy that. But anyone can just put my name in the internet and you'll find me. If you haven't got the internet, just ring Gloucester County Cricket Club. They'll tell you where I am. It's a book of all the grounds that I played at for Gloucestershire, so we're going around all the grounds with it. Took me 2.5 years to do it. There's about 130 odd pictures in there, so great fun doing that and revisiting all the grounds again, having a great time.
Jack Russell, it's just been a pleasure to meet you here in Stamford. Thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio.
My pleasure. I'll be back one day.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
So, Richard Beachy, lead singer for the Amber Squad, tell us about how big this band was, sort of, you know, early 80s. You gigged everywhere locally and further afield, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We played some of the recognisable sort of venues in London at the time. We had quite a lot of airplay of the singles on national radio, and the first single, I Can't Put My Finger on You, actually got reviewed on Radio 1's Round Table. So, we had a fair crack at it, but we all had fairly good day jobs, and we couldn't make that brave step to move down to London where you needed to be, really.
That is the most difficult thing, isn't it? And actually, there's still a lot of love for you these days as well. A lot of people who remember seeing you around here all those years ago. You had a huge gig, didn't you, at Victoria Hall just before Christmas?
Yeah, that was tremendous. I mean, it's 30 years since we played, and we had a good reason to get together again. And we were just overwhelmed with the support. I mean, the tickets sold out within about 6 or 7 days of going on sale. People came back from all around the country, friends and people we hadn't seen for many years. And due to our enduring alignment with the sort of mod culture, we got also a lot of guys who had just never seen the band, but guys came from all over the country, mod fans, to see us as well, which really knocked us sideways.
Now, tonight at the Grange store, you kick off at 9 o'clock. It's absolutely free entry, but you want to raise lots of money for Break, as you did just before Christmas as well, the road safety charity.
Yeah, we'll be kicking off at 9 o'clock. All proceeds, the band's fee for playing, will be going to Break. We will be passing around a collecting tin, but as you say, Rob, it's free to get in. And we have got a limited amount of CDs, badges, stickers and things that we hope to sell on the night as well.
And Squadrophenia Ale as well, brewed especially for the occasion.
Yeah, the events manager, Chris Paul at the Grange store, has done a grand job in getting this amber ale together, which we've named Squadrophenia, and that will be sold on draft on the night for one night only. We had a little sample, and I can confirm it's a nice quaffing ale. It'll also be sold in bottles. I think there's 200 bottles which will be sold, and the proceeds from that, the bottle sales, will also go to Break. So, yeah, a grand job by Chris, the events manager there.
So how does it feel for you getting behind the mic as the band's lead singer again, the frontman?
Well, we have rehearsed the Christmas gig, and people said we sounded just as good as we ever did back in the day, so that sort of does your confidence some good. The other guys in the band had actually continued in music. They play in different bands themselves, but I really hadn't done anything. But it all came back pretty quick. I don't really suffer from too much nerves, but I'm sure 2 or 3 pints of Squadrophenia will help me and settle any butterflies.
Excellent. Well, we're actually going to hear something from that gig. We're going to hear the single that made it big for you, the very first hit single. And this recording was actually made at Victoria Hall on the 12th of December last year. So could you introduce it for us, Richard?
Yeah, great. Well, this is the Amber Squad live after 30 years at the Victoria Hall in Oakham, this December just gone. And this is I Can't Put My Finger on You, which is our first single.
This is Rutland Radio.
This is a week of drama and dance and movement workshops suitable for 8 to 16-year-olds.
And is there a particular level of experience that people need to have had before they actually come to you?
No, not at all. Anybody can come along. We just want people with enthusiasm and commitment, but no experience is necessary.
And is there anything particular that children need to know and their parents before they come and see you?
If they wanted a place, they would have to call Stamford Arts Centre or visit their box office on 01780 763 203. They could just turn up on the day, but it's better for us to know beforehand how many people we've got on board.
Do they work towards a kind of final performance? Is that how it works?
Yeah, they do. Through the week, we have a devising process, lots of improvisation, and then we put together a performance through the week. So by the end of Thursday, we have a performance in place, and then we rehearse it all through Friday, and then we invite family and friends to come and see it Friday evening.
And I guess they're pretty taken aback by actually what their children have been learning through the week as well.
Yes, they are. They're always amazed at how much their children can retain and learn in that short space of time, and how much fun they seem to be having.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Well, we've just witnessed the start of the Burley Film Festival. You must know the music in the background. We're talking Harry Potter. We're talking today to Warwick Davis. What a perfect launch for the film festival. I don't think there's ever been one quite like this before.
Oh, well, no, it's a pleasure to be here. I mean, I think it's great to celebrate cinema, and if we can do it in a lovely setting like Burley, I think that's even better.
Let's talk Star Wars for just a sec. You know, Star Wars was really what launched you onto the big screen, all thanks to someone in your family hearing an audition, request.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I got radio to thank for my career, basically. My nan heard a radio announcement from Lucasfilm looking for short people to be in the new Star Wars movie, and she mentioned it to my mum, who phoned the studios, and they said, bring Warwick up. And I didn't have to audition That was the thing. I was simply the right height for the job. And that got me started all those years ago, 35 years ago now. And initially, obviously, being short was my kind of USP, but, hopefully throughout my career I've kind of studied the craft of acting, and now I'm more known for being an actor rather than a little person. It's great. I mean, I'm getting parts now that aren't necessarily written for somebody short anymore. But I feel very lucky with the career that I've had, absolutely.
You bring a massive amount of character to every role, don't you? There's that twinkle in your eye.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if you enjoy doing something, that comes through as an entertainer. You know, I watch performances from people, and I think you actually have lost the love of this industry. You have to be passionate about it, have to love it, because it's not very easy either. And you have to be prepared for knockbacks and things like that, and criticisms. But if you love what you do and love getting up on stage and performing, that passion will take you through all of those times. Yeah, I still love what I do, and hopefully it will continue well into the future. And actors, it's very rare an actor retires, really. You know, you sort of end up working till you drop. So I would love to keep going as long as I can.
You're proudly a resident just south of here as well. I guess you know Burley.
I do. I've never actually been on the grounds of Burley, though, before. My son's been here on a school visit, but it's pretty impressive, and only very slightly larger than my own garden at home. I'm very impressed with is it topiary, with these shaped hedges?
I think they got Capability Brown to kind of design it in the first place. Is that what you did with yours as well?
He was called George Brown, who did my garden, but I think a distant relative.
Yeah, clearly, yes. So you're staying here for not the first film, maybe a little bit more as well?
Yeah, I'm going to stay here, but I'm going to watch this first film that you can hear in the background is well underway now. I haven't watched the first movie for many, many years. And
how is it as an actor actually watching your performances?
I don't mind doing it. I mean, some actors will not watch what they do, but I learn from it. I mean, I watch this and go, oh, I shouldn't have done that there, or what have you, and oh, that was smart what I did there. You know, so you can learn from it. I enjoy it. And it's slightly nerve-wracking the first time, though, when you sit with an audience and watch something you've done, because you're very exposed. Each job that you do, you expose yourself to criticism, or it's lovely to also get praise as well, so you hopefully will get more of the latter.
I guess you must have learnt very much on the job then, from being 11 when you were in your first feature.
Oh yeah, very much so, yeah. That's one of the best places to learn, and that's not to say that, you know, dramas, colleges and schools don't have a place. I went to one on a part-time basis and learned a great deal from that, but also experience, just getting involved with productions, working with other actors, you can learn so much from that process as well. So my apprenticeship has been basically on the job, you know, working throughout the years.
Warwick Davis, thank you very much for joining us here at Burley. As I say, what a launch for the film festival. Thanks for talking to us here at Rutland Radio.
No problem, cheers.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.